This is Xiaomi's new high-end phone, the Xiaomi 12T, and it brings plenty of upgrades over the previous model, the 11T. So what's new here, and could this be the flagship killer to get this season? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Xiaomi 12T review. Just like last year's Xiaomi 11T, the 12T is a premium mid-ranger that stands out with a high-end display, a high-res camera, and blazing fast charging. This time around, the screen, the charging, and the chipset have all gotten an upgrade. Xiaomi has used the same design for both this model and the Pro version. It's no-nonsense rather than flashy, and features a square camera bump. The glass back is curved with a matte finish. One notable difference from last year is that the frame is made of plastic here, not metal. At around 200 grams, the 12T isn't light, it feels solid in the hand. There is some ingress protection here. It's IP53 rated against dust and light splashes. On the front of the 12T is a 6.67-inch AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate. It has a higher resolution than last year at 1220p, so Xiaomi calls it a crystal res screen. This display is also brighter than the 11T's. We measured a maximum of over 500 nits with a manual brightness slider, and this can boost to over 950 nits in auto mode when out in the sun. There has been one downgrade though. Last year's model had Gorilla Glass Victus protection, while this one has Gorilla Glass 5. Regardless, the 12T's screen looks great. There's a sharp pixel density of 446 ppi, and you get those deep AMOLED blacks. Colors can be quite accurate, depending on the color settings you choose. And there's also support for 12-bit color depth, as well as HDR10+, but no Dolby Vision, which you do get on the 12T Pro. The display's 120Hz refresh rate makes your swiping and scrolling extra smooth, and is adaptive too, dialing down when idling to save energy. There's support for high frame rate gaming as well. And while the 11T had a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, this year there is an under-display one. It's quite fast and reliable. The Xiaomi 12T features a stereo speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support. The top speaker also doubles as the earpiece. The speaker scored very good in our loudness test, and the sound quality is good, with rich highs, nice vocals, and okay bass.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
You can get the Xiaomi 12T with 128 or 256 gigs of storage on board. That's not expandable through microSD though. The phone's interface is no surprise. It's MIUI 13 on top of Android 12. It's a customized, yet snappy UI that's the same one that you will find on all of Xiaomi's recent phones. If you'd like to learn more about MIUI 13's specific features, you can check out our dedicated video. Powering these features is a customized high-end chipset, a Mediatek Dimensity 8100 Ultra. It's quite similar to the regular Dimensity 8100, but with a few tweaks affecting the image processing and the power efficiency. And when it comes to raw performance, it's comparable to Qualcomm's Snapdragon 888 series chips. In benchmarks, the Xiaomi 12T does a great job. It's not as powerful as the top flagships, but its performance is still right up there. And even better for gamers, it demonstrated excellent stability in our thermal throttling tests. The Xiaomi 12T has a large 5000 mAh battery, and while it isn't a battery champion, it still does a pretty good job, earning an endurance rating of 104 hours in our proprietary tests. But where the 12T stands out is its charging, which has been upgraded from 67 watts to 120, and the adapter comes in the box. With it, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 96% in 30 minutes. And if you enable a special boost charging mode, you can go to full in just 23 minutes. Now onto the cameras. The Xiaomi 12T has a 108 megapixel main cam, which has OIS. There's also an 8 megapixel ultra-wide cam and a 2 megapixel macro cam. The main camera bins pixels 9 to 1 to produce 12 megapixel images by default. These are solid in quality, with plenty of detail, lively colors, good contrast, and balanced dynamic range. The fine detail rendition is a bit peculiar though. Near the center of the image there's good sharpness and a balanced look. But further away from the center, things look a bit worse. There could be an explanation for this found when shooting in the 108 megapixel mode. For some reason, these photos have very soft edges and corners. Portrait photos taken with the main cam are likable. The subject separation is pretty good, and the subjects are well exposed, detailed, and colorful. 8-megapixel ultra-wide cameras are quite common in mid-rangers, but the 12T's ultra-wide provides some of the best quality of the lot. The photos have plenty of detail and good sharpness, and a natural-looking rendition. Colors are accurate and the dynamic range is good too. In contrast, the 2-megapixel macro cam is underwhelming, especially since it's a downgrade from the 5-megapixel telemacro of last year, which had autofocus. The photos are usable but don't have a ton of detail. In low light conditions, the Xiaomi 12T will apply auto night mode processing to photos from the main cam. These are great. There's enough detail, low noise, and great color saturation and dynamic range. The exposure is bright, even brighter than reality. You can toggle off the night mode, and while the results are a bit darker and noisier, they have a more natural and less processed look overall. There's no auto night mode for the ultra-wide cam, but you can toggle the night mode on. These have an acceptable level of detail, realistic exposure, nice looking colors, and good dynamic range. By default, without night mode, the ultra-wide's photos come out like this. Dark, with narrow dynamic range and desaturated colors. Selfies from the 20-megapixel front-facing cam are okay, with good exposure and nice looking skin tones. There's not a lot of detail here though. You can record video in up to 4K at 30 FPS with the main cam, and electronic stabilization is always on. The quality is good, with enough resolved detail, balanced sharpening, nice colors and contrast, and natural looking dynamic range. In low light, the 4K footage from the main camera is very good. There's plenty of resolved detail, saturated colors, and good contrast and exposure. The ultra-wide cam is capped at 1080p resolution. The quality is great for what it is though, with plenty of detail, a natural rendition, low noise, and good colors and contrast. So that's the Xiaomi 12T. It's a really balanced and well-rounded upper mid-ranger with a bright AMOLED display, super fast charging, and some nice performance from the main and ultra-wide cams. Gamers will be happy here too. The chipset is both powerful and stable, and there's support for high frame rate gaming. Our only nitpicks were the lack of Dolby Vision on the display, and a mediocre selfie cam and macro camera. But if these don't bother you, then the Xiaomi 12T is a flagship killer worth recommending. Thanks for watching guys, and see you on the next one.